when you crossed over, you could see what was happening from an earthly plane. You could see the nurses and the doctors and your husband. Can you tell us a bit about that? And then also what experience you had on the other side?
Yes, so I was aware of everything that was going on around my physical body. I could feel what they were feeling. I could hear everything they were saying. And the doctors were telling my family that I'm not even going to make it through the night. My family were distraught. I could feel they were distraught. And I was wanting them to know that I was fine. But there was no way to communicate with them because I was not in my body and I didn't have any biology. And even though I was aware of everything that was going on, it was not like I was looking through physical eyes. It was like I had 360-degree peripheral vision. I was aware of everything. But even beyond the room, like I could see what was happening outside down the hallway where my husband was talking to the doctor at the nurse's station. And so it was a very different type of awareness. It wasn't like our five sensory awareness. It was very, very different. But even though I knew they were distraught, I still felt everything's going to be okay, even if I died, that it's okay, because on the other side, time is very different. I knew that even if I died, because I thought I was dying, I thought, oh, they're going to join me soon anyway, because the time doesn't feel like a long time. I knew I was going to be reunited with them. So it wasn't like I was longing to come back into my body or anything like that. I was much happier being there.
And you saw your dad who had passed. He came to greet you as well as your best friend.
Yes, so my best friend who had died of cancer was there. My dad was there. And my dad, and all I felt from them was unconditional love, because my dad and I had a turbulent relationship when I was growing up, because, as I mentioned about the gender disparity and everything, and I was rebellious because I went to a British school where the cultural values were different, and I learnt more westernized, more Western cultural values, which resonated with me, and I agreed with them. But they didn't work at home. They didn't work with my dad. And so we clashed because I needed to be more subservient to get married to an Indian man. And they wanted me to have an arranged marriage. And I didn't want that. And I wanted to study and I wanted to work. I wanted my freedom. I wanted to travel the world. All of which is unacceptable and makes you less desirable for marriage in our culture. So we clashed a lot. But here on the other side, all I felt from my dad was pure unconditional love. Like he understood me. He understood me at a soul level. And I understood him. And I understood that he wasn't trying to make my life miserable. So my dad had died 10 years prior, so that's why he was there on the other side. And I understood that he hadn't been deliberately trying to make my life miserable, that it was all he knew how to do because of his cultural upbringing. And he was just doing the best he could with what he knew. And so I felt nothing but love for him, and he felt nothing but love for me. So that was really, really healing and beautiful.
And what did he talk to you about? Because I know that he said a few things to you when you were over there that really kind of made sense when you ended up going back into your body.
Yes, he wanted me to know that it wasn't my time to die and that I needed to go back. And I felt I had a choice as to whether to come back or not. And no part of me wanted to come back because it was so beautiful on that side. But he said that I had some gifts waiting for me here. And he wanted me to know, because on that side I had this, what I call clarity. I understood why I had got sick. I was able to see it was because I had been a doormat and made myself small and never allowed myself or my soul to express itself. And I understood why it was that I was lying in that hospital bed dying. And I realized that we are actually more powerful than we've ever been led to believe. And so my dad wanted me to know that now that you know this truth, if you go back, your body will heal very, very quickly. And so then when I made the decision to come back, literally just before coming back into my body, my dad said to me that go back and live your life fearlessly. And basically that's all you have to do, is to live your life fearlessly. So because he wanted me to know that I hadn't fulfilled my purpose and I had gifts waiting for me, I wanted to know, like, so what is my purpose?
Yeah.
And he wanted me to know that I didn't need to know that. All I needed to know was go and live your life fearlessly and your life will unfold. And so basically he gave me that as the only message I needed: live your life fearlessly. And so it was, and so the thing is that during my lifetime, it was my dad who instilled fear in me. I grew up as a very, very fearful person because of my dad, because I felt I never lived up to his expectations. I was never, because I was rebellious, I was not, I was rebelling against the culture. I was not subservient enough. I was not obedient enough. I was never, I would never make a wonderful Hindu wife and all these things. I was always disappointing him. And I always thought there was something wrong with me. And I was always so fearful my whole life. And so during my life, it was my dad who instilled fear in me. But in death, it was my dad who released me from that fear as well.
That is so beautiful.
Yes, so it was like a full circle, and he wanted me to know, all you have to do is live your life fearlessly. And I realized what that meant is that it means being myself fearlessly. I'd never allowed myself to be who I am. And so really it was about allowing myself to be who I am fearlessly.
And when you were over the other side, Anita, what did it look like?
So this is interesting in that it can literally look like what you want it to look like. You can literally take yourself wherever you want to go, because it feels like you're everywhere. Like I was able to see my brother, who was flying on a plane, coming to see me, trying to get to me in time. He wanted to get to me before I died. So I was able to be in this life. I was able to even see other lifetimes that I've had. I saw other lifetimes that I've had with my brother, with my husband. So literally, and I wasn't there long enough. If I was there longer, I would probably know more and go deeper and into other dimensions and so on. But it literally felt like I could be wherever I wanted to, but time and space were no restrictions. So I could go back in time, but I was also able to see a little bit into the future of what I would be doing if I came back here into this physical life. So I was even able to see that I saw myself speaking to thousands of people, but I didn't know what I was speaking about. And it's funny, when I wrote my story, I'm so glad I wrote this, because it's easy for me to say it now in hindsight. Yes. But I mean, I wrote it in my book, Dying to Be Me, which I wrote before, because I hadn't started speaking to thousands of people until after the book came out. Wow. So it was interesting, but I wrote it on a website in 2006, which is the one that Wayne Dyer discovered, where I actually wrote that I saw myself in the future speaking to thousands of people, but at that time in that state, I didn't know what I was speaking to them about, but I just knew that I had an important purpose where I would be speaking to thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people.